Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Today's episode is going to be titled, What's Your Actual Point? You know, I've been thinking about how people talk, like how they'll start a conversation with you, and they're just talking. They're saying words, telling stories, or giving opinions, but a lot of the time it feels like they're not actually saying anything. You listen to them, and it's like, okay, but where is this going? What's your point? It's almost like they're just filling the silence without any real intention behind their words. And I get it. Not everything we say needs to be some profound, world-changing thought. But still, it's kind of frustrating when someone talks and it's clear there's no real direction or purpose behind what they're saying. For example, some people love to tell stories, right? They'll bring up something that happened to them or something they saw. But by the time they're done talking, you're left wondering, why did you even tell me that? It's like they didn't even think about whether the story had a point. They just wanted to share something random. And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Sometimes we all ramble a bit. But when it becomes a habit, when people constantly say things that don't add anything meaningful to a conversation, it makes me question whether they even know what they're trying to communicate. And then there's the whole thing with insults. I think this is where it really hits me. Like when someone calls someone else fat, ugly, or whatever, it's so pointless. What are they trying to achieve? What's the overall goal here? Let's say someone calls me fat. Okay, sure, I'm fat. That's not news to me. But why are they pointing it out? What are they hoping to accomplish? Are they trying to shame me into losing weight? Are they trying to feel better about themselves by putting me down? Most of the time, I feel like they're not even thinking that far ahead. They're just being mean for the sake of being mean. And the thing is, if someone genuinely cared about me and my health, they'd approach it differently. They'd say something like, "Hey, I care about you, and I think you'd feel better if you worked on your health." That would actually make sense. That would have a point. But just saying you're fat or you're ugly doesn't mean anything. It's not like I don't already know that about myself, you know? It's not news, and it doesn't help me in any way. It's just noise. Noise that's meant to hurt rather than help. I think what really gets me is the lack of depth. People say these things without thinking, without asking themselves why they're saying it or what they're trying to achieve. It's like they've been taught by society to point out flaws in others, but they never stop to question what the point of that is. And I'm the kind of person who likes to dig deeper. I want to know the bigger picture. If you're saying something to me, I want to understand the reason behind it, the end game. What are you hoping to accomplish by saying this? And when I ask people that, when I actually challenge them, they usually don't have a good answer. It's like they've never even thought about it before. I'll be honest, sometimes people tell me I overthink these things. They say I'm too sensitive or that I take things too seriously. But I don't think there's anything wrong with questioning the things people say. If anything, I think it's important. Words have weight, you know? Even if someone doesn't mean to, their words can stick with you. And that's why I like to take a moment to really understand where someone's coming from. It helps me separate the people who are just mindlessly talking from the ones who actually have something meaningful to say. Recently, I've been reflecting on this more because of some of the comments I've gotten about my weight. People love to point out that I'm overweight. And honestly, it just baffles me. What's their goal? Are they trying to hurt my feelings? Do they think they're helping me? Because if they were genuinely concerned, they'd say something constructive like, "Hey, maybe you could try this program," or "Have you thought about joining a gym? I think it might really help." But no, they just say you're fat, and then move on like they've accomplished something. And it's like, okay, what am I supposed to do with that? It's not that I can't handle criticism. I can. But if you're going to criticize me, at least make it meaningful. Give me something I can work with. Otherwise, it's just noise, and I'm not interested in wasting my energy on meaningless noise. I've started to see these kinds of comments as a way to filter people out of my life. When someone shows me that they don't have anything meaningful to say, it tells me a lot about them. It shows me that they're not worth my time, and honestly, I appreciate it when people reveal that about themselves early on. It saves me the trouble of trying to figure it out later. And maybe that's the silver lining in all of this. When people say pointless, hurtful things, they're really just showing me who they are. They're doing me a favor by making it clear that they're not friend material. I don't need to waste my energy on people who don't bring value to my life. And as much as it frustrates me that people talk without thinking, it's also a reminder to me to keep my own standards high. I want to surround myself with people who are thoughtful, who speak with intention, and who add something meaningful to my life. At the end of the day, I know not everyone thinks as deeply about these things as I do. And that's fine. Not everyone has to. But for me, this is about more than just random comments or insults. It's about creating a space where conversations matter, where words have purpose. I want to live in a world where people are thoughtful about what they say, where their words actually mean something. And while I can't control how other people talk, I can control how I respond and who I choose to engage with. That's something I'll always hold on to. Anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moors October Rants. Signing out. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.